Hello guys, and welcome to my first ever talk through video, and we're here with Planet Coaster update 1.2, which has finally just landed. I've been waiting absolutely ages to get my hands on this, hoping that it's going to give me a bunch of features and fixes and stuff that I've just been really dying for over the past few months while making this recreation of Forbidden Valley at Alton Towers. So overall, I think it's a really good update. I'm super pleased with some of the stuff they added in it. There is some really juicy things. And towards the end of the video, I'm just going to cover a couple things that have left me scratching my head a little bit. And then I guess just some sort of would be nice wishes, which probably shouldn't be too hard to implement, but we'll see what the developers think about that. So right away, I don't even know where to start. It's going to be a bit of a weird video because I'm not going to cover any of the new rides or go-karts because pretty much everything I needed for Forbidden Valley ride-wise was already in the game. You've already got a Ripsaw, you've already got a Blade, you've already got a B&M inverter and a B&M flying coaster, which is there. You might not be able to see air. I think you have to actually look really close. Yeah, that's coming. So right away, something I've actually been pestering developers for ages on the forums and on Reddit is for recolorable items, and I looked through the patch notes this morning and didn't see them, and I just thought, for God's sake, but they decided to surprise people like me because you actually now can finally recolor some items that just kind of had you wondering why can't I recolor this, and now you can, and it's super helpful just to making things look a bit more realistic. So things like the girders couldn't recolor, but now you can, so I could now go for something like a cheeky tannish red sort of colour. But yeah, that's awesomely helpful and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, colorable items, awesome. It wasn't on the patch notes, they kind of left it out. It's only a few things. Some of the stuff isn't colorable that I really would hope was, but some stuff is, so that's fine. Something I really wish was colorable is these snow pieces, because I can kind of see why they wouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense for you to have red or blue or green snow, but for me in this one specific instance, it'd be wicked to be able to make the stark, bright, crisp whiteness of the Nemesis station fit in more of like the coloured, weird sort of aged bone things that I've formed out of the icing and rock. So yeah, it kind of looks a bit odd being like this bright white with the red, but I can dig it. For now, it's not the biggest problem. Another thing I really wish they would colour was water, but I guess that's kind of a weird follow through from Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, where you could have red or green or orange water, whatever colour you wanted. So yeah, still can't really change the colour of the water here. I've actually done something really weird where I think it's maybe 9:30, you might be able to see it. No, that's a lie. I've actually placed a red roof piece underneath to try and give it a bit of, it kind of looks like a pool of blood, but again, all the water that runs into it is blue, so that's not great. Another awesome thing is just the no collision, because as I understand it, Ripsaw has sort of like a facade, or on the back of it like a broken down castle, and vines climbing all over it and that sort of thing. So that's really cool that we can now just add stuff kind of willy-nilly. Let's have a look. Let's just chuck a wall in for an example. Something like that. It can just go in and it's not a problem. Obviously the ride will hit it, so you have to kind of figure out where it actually won't collide, but a lot of people do complain that and I agree with them actually, that the footprint of rides is a bit too big, and it just creates a bit weird situations over here. Like if you look at Blade, you've just got like this weird gap, and yeah, it's a bit strange, but that's life. What else was really good that I liked? We've got loads of new scenery items, and it's hard to go down and actually pick out what's brand new and what's not, because it's just, well, scenery list by itself is so exhaustive. But some cool stuff I did notice we have is some curved cables, and this will be funny if I can't find them again. They're around here somewhere. You've got like, yeah, curved bits of rope, straight bits of rope, that sort of thing, curved bits of chain. Just, you know, items that were kind of missing and now they're nice to have. So you have these, yeah, just bits, pieces here and there. I can't even like say with certainty whether they're in the original game or not, but something that wasn't is these little fence pieces, which I've been absolutely dying for, because as you can see with this example here, I've actually done something really sort of weird and gone onto the workshop and got like, well, it's just a series of a bunch of logs stacked together. You know, it doesn't look amazing, but it'll do. But now I can replace it with that, which is good. And then we also have these metal fences, so again, very good for putting this scenery in where I've had to make do with these kind of walkways and it doesn't work. One thing I'm a little bit disappointed about is the lack of chain link fences. Again, it would be so nice to have those instead of these sort of strange walkway pieces, which don't really look like they suit, but that's it. And then that's pretty much everything that they've added, which, you know, is quite good in the update. So on to the bad stuff, which isn't really bad stuff, it's just you know, I have no idea where they're going next, what's on their list to do next, but this is just stuff that I really hope they look at either in hotfix or the next update. On the hotfix terms, they've broken signs, where you place signs ever so slightly in front of something to give it a kind of different look on the front. So when you get close it's fine, and then the further away you go, disaster. And that's present on pretty much all signs in front of this driftwood stuff. So that's a bit gutting. I think the other example is down there. So yeah, this never used to happen and it does now, and it's just kind of a bit strange. I don't think these were colorable before, I'm not sure, but it's just super good to see things that, you know, now you can sort of move it around and change the way it looks, make things a bit more accurate. So happy about that. What else we've got? Covered the water that can't be changed colours. Possibly, I think the worst thing about the game, and the most sort of mind-boggling one, is the way that terrain is locked to a path once a path goes down, and then terrain just goes really funny and you can't actually do anything with it. So if I show you this as an example, let's say I wanted to just make a bridge, you'd have to, well, you can see the terrain just like sticks to it, and you just, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, why it has to be so wide. And I understand it's a voxel based system to calculate the ground, but it's just kind of it's just annoying when you want to make something and you can't because you're completely hindered by this. And as an example of how that has affected this recreation, you've got this sort of like little ditch area. I want to make this part of the mini cliff face, I guess you could call it, just extend out a little bit further. And if I grab the pull tool, you'll see what it does. It's just completely locked it, and I actually just can't move that at all. I mean, look at the gap between the actual like editable terrain and the stuff that isn't. It's just, it doesn't really make sense why it is so far away. And again, over here, you again just have quite a large gap, which I've had to cover with like extra rocks, which of course adds extra pieces. Which just isn't an ideal situation. What else have we got? Still no sort of point of interest. I think there is something in the game that is like a point of interest that you can mark. It's a great idea. I see it on the Planet Coaster forums and on Reddit quite often. I think that is the kind of like the in-game way to do it. I'm not actually sure. I've never placed one before, so I don't even know truthfully if that is what you use to sort of bring guests over, so they go, oh, you know, look at this crazy roller coaster dug into the earth, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's not been sorted. I don't know about the way the guests behave with money yet, because I've only opened this once to like test it and see how the guests flow. But yeah, there's still no sort of like updates to the guest behavior, like wandering, because when I did open it, I had different paths, but the guests would basically walk in, they'd just go straight down here, straight down here onto the ride, they'd come off the ride and they'd just go, you know, the computer would calculate that the fastest route out was down here, across here, up here, and back out, and then they'd either go back onto the ride. There'd be no wandering. They'd not wander around this way. They'd not wander around, you know, these sort of paths here. So I don't really know if that'll ever get fixed, but it's kind of like natural behaviour, I guess, isn't it, to just have a wander around when you're in a theme park. You don't exactly know where everything is and where every path goes, and at the moment it's just quite calculated, so I hope that will be fixed. What else we've got? Still no word on blank versions of rides, so at the moment the only swinging ship in the game is a pirate ship, and it's heavily themed with, you know, torches and anchor points and stone and barrels and all sorts, but it doesn't really fit. You know, some people might want a swinging ship in a futuristic area or in any sort of theming area that isn't pirate really, and you're just kind of stuck with a big pirate ship. So again, it's I've heard a lot of people say they want to have like blank templates for rides and roller coasters where, you know, the kiddie ride is always a dragon. It might be nice to just have a normal thing. What else we've got? Done everything really. Chain link fences, ride times being messed up. Yeah. So that's it. The biggest thing I think, again, with the paths being messed up is it's just so difficult and so frustrating, because you always end up with these little sort of nubbins, these little points of the path that just can't be filled in. No matter what you do, it just can't be changed. And I've you know, kind of done stuff where I've added a rock to kind of cover it, and I guess it would work because it means the guests won't walk straight into it. But a big problem is that just placing a path down and then changing it afterwards. You know, let's say you place it down and it's 90% correct, exactly the way you want. After you change it, after it's down, you can't really change it very well, and it's super frustrating. It's uber frustrating. So here, I don't know what the game's done here. I don't know why it's done it, but it's changed all these different paths into just one big piece. You can see it's one big piece, because if it was smaller bits it would sort of select the individual elements, but here it is just one path. So if I was to get rid of it, the whole thing goes, and then just rebuilding it, you know, it's an absolute, I don't even know how I'd begin to it's super frustrating, and that's one thing I really want to see changed, is the way the path system is designed, because I'd sort of wager right now it's not, it works for simple sort of stuff, but anytime you want to like open an area up or make a plaza kind of area, it really sort of falls on its face. And you can see that where I had an original path just going around, I believe just like this, and then I kind of wanted it to sort of branch out and add a path around here so I could connect the blade entrance, and I just noticed it's a bit wider than what I originally built for. But there's no way to put a path down here and actually have it, see, now it's like stuck to the thing, which is again just so irritating. But there's no way to actually have it connect up, so you end up with like a weird seam across that you just you can't fix, and it just looks weird, you know. And people always say, whenever you bring up, you know, I'd like to see the paths improved, a common sort of, not really comeback, but a response to that is, how do you propose to improve it? And I actually have an idea based on the way the game works. So right now in Planet Coaster, the path is essentially, if you think about it, a blanket that covers the entire map. It covers the entire terrain, and you can see that in action by, if you look at this rock here, it doesn't actually move position when I move the path. It just kind of gets, the texture gets clipped off. So the path is essentially like marking the areas where the texture should show up. So I'm going to nip over to Photoshop and show you what I've sort of mocked up over there. Okay, so we're back here. I've kind of got a little texture off the internet and then made it look like the way the path would work. So this is kind of, if you imagine this grey sort of brick is covering the entire map, and that's kind of what we have in Planet Coaster. So what I am hoping to see at some point in the future is something where you can draw a path as you normally do. So let's just do something like, this with maybe a slight curve. It's gonna be hard to see on video, like the little individual nodes, because Photoshop just makes them absolutely tiny and like stick thin for some reason. But you'd have your nodes, and then I think you do create vector mask. So this is the way the path would look essentially when you draw it down. So you have your path like this, and you think, I kind of want this to open up into a plaza, that kind of thing. And you could, my suggestion, like the bones of it, is to be able to select the points that the game is obviously using to draw a path. It's obviously using these points, so actually be able to select them and manipulate them. So if I go in here, I could sort of make that wider, I can make that wider, and then this sort of thing, and just sort of play around with the points at my own leisure. I can add another one here and move it and adjust. Even though I'm struggling to see the little bits and I'm sat right in front of this. Yeah, and just move it at your own leisure really, and then it would just make things so much easier, because where you have now this sort of weird gaps in the path, you can sort of like adjust things and fill them out and make sure that it doesn't look stupid, even though I have just clicked about a zillion times and it's ruined it. But that's a kind of the most ideal way I think they could go about the paths, and obviously they'd use their game development UI magic to make it a bit more simplistic than this, or maybe hide it away in the menu under advanced path editing. But I definitely think it would alleviate some problems that people have where they want to make a plaza but they don't want to make it completely structured and square, because I think that introduces a lot of restraints, and it's nice to just have these sort of like more free-flowing larger areas. So yeah, that's my suggestion for the paths. Right, video update for Forbidden Valley. I think it's update 7 now. That'll be coming soon, later today. So keep an eye out on the channel. And yeah, to Frontier, you've done a brilliant job with 1.2. I was so impressed when I saw the patch notes. It was just massive, absolutely massive. So yeah, awesome, and I can't wait to see what you have in store in the future. Thank you very much.